Hi there, welcome to Cocktail Mode, the podcast where me, Andy, and my good mate Dave pick a retro game and try and pick a cocktail each to go alongside it. Today's game is the almighty, all-conquering, incredible Doom, which needs no further introduction, so I won't. Give me the background. Give me the facts.
So, basic facts for Doom, developed by id Software in 1992 to 93, released on the 10th of December 93 for DOS. Interestingly, they used the shareware distribution model.
Yes, I remember that.
Which is not something a lot of people will know of these days.
No.
Basically, the idea was that you release sort of a cut-down demo version of a game. You get to a point and it would just stop and say, if you want to buy the full game, please send a postcard or a stamped addressed envelope with a check in it to this address.
Carrier pigeon.
And you get a copy of the game. Yeah, brilliant. The initial release was on the University of Wisconsin servers, which, bearing in mind the internet was in its early stages, crashed.
Of course it did.
There's like tens of thousands of people trying to download it the second it was available, and they crashed the system. It was brilliant.
So Ed was John Carmack and what's the other bloke's name?
John Carmack, John Romero,
that's it.
Are the two main sort of headline names. There's a guy in there called Tom Hall who was a big part of it, who ended up leaving, but he was quite instrumental in the very early days of it.
Oh.
Interesting development story, because it's really, really well documented as well.
Yeah.
Which is really good. There's loads of good information out there, and John Romero and John Carmack quite often do like talks about it. I mean, Romero comes across really well.
Yeah.
He's quite a likable guy and he talks quite fluidly on it. John Carmack's just a geek. It's just a program.
Are they both Americans?
Oh yeah, they're all Americans.
Yeah.
But yeah, nice enough guys, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Romero left fairly early on. I think he left just before Quake released.
Right.
Which was sort of the big follow-up after Doom. But Carmack stayed around for, I don't know, 10, 15 years, I think. Quite a while.
I seem to remember he had something to do with sort of early second wave VR.
He may have been involved on the business side of Oculus.
Yeah, I think it was his idea, though. I think the technology. So he was at a game show, probably might have even been E3, sort of in the back room somewhere, with this headset that was basically a phone screen hooked up to a Wii controller that was sellotaped to the side of his head to do head tracking like you do in VR. And that's, it wasn't that basic, but it wasn't far off, and it was a Wii controller. It was the IR thing and the motion sensor from a Wii controller. And I'm pretty sure that was John Carmack. So in 2012, there was an article on Eurogamer. They are brilliant the way they archive all their stuff. The headset has a motion sensor stuck to it, a single smartphone 6-inch LED displaying two images side by side, and the whole thing is held together with gaffer tape.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Which is incredible.
Probably an early prototype for Oculus.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure, the Oculus, or what was it called before it's called? No, it's called Oculus. They've changed it now to Meta.
Oculus Rift.
Meta Quest. But so that was 2012. So 12 years ago he was there, and that's what I guess started, because it was because first wave VR was those massive great machines that we have fond memories of, and second wave VR is what we've got now. And it does work, it's really, it just needs better games, but that's not what we're here to talk about. But that was John Carmack.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It's the kind of thing that if you're building engines and that kind of, the environment in which a game takes place rather than the game, you are highly, highly technical and can turn that skill to anything.
Yeah, cool. So what did Doom come out on?
MS-DOS. Nothing else ever.
Nothing else ever?
Yeah, nothing. Technically, most of the weird versions are the DOS version. So although they're running on a printer or a potato or whatever, it is that original MS-DOS release.
Yeah.
It's been converted and ported over to every system under the sun, pretty much. It's always getting re-released on everything because it's a very easy thing to package up and just, there you go. There's Doom for PlayStation 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tiny, isn't it? So distribution digitally is I think it's a subreddit called Will It Run Doom?
Yes.
It's very popular, and there's a post on there by me somewhere where I gutted a Casio Pocket TV and put a Raspberry Pi and a screen inside it, and then plugged in a Bluetooth so it had a controller. I imagine the first thing that somebody out there tried to do as soon as the Raspberry Pi was released was to get Doom running on it.
Oh yeah, definitely. The very first Raspberry Pi I had, and the retro software that I found had Doom built into it straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was running independently, I think. So it wasn't easy to install. There was a lot of dicking around and a lot of programs to put in and getting the Doom WAD file and making sure all that. But it was proper Doom, the proper original one. And I think when it comes to sort of the serious people who are trying to make Doom run on things, it is the first Doom. It is that original version. Even, you have to do things to make it run, obviously, because the software, the hardware is different. But the basis is that original game. And a lot of those things are bollocks anyway. Those things where they say it's running on a printer and all that sort of shit. They're not. They might be using the screen from a printer, but quite often they're not.
Mind you, you say that, but one of the things that's come up about this that I was reading the other day is that the computing power needed to run Doom in 93 is negligible. It's virtually nothing compared to what is in the most basic devices now.
Yeah.
The whole metaphor about it took like 14K of RAM to send man to the moon.
Yeah.
And then only 20 years later, that's a home computer. Yeah. It's a similar thing. It's, it took a Pentium 2 to run Doom when it was released. But nowadays, the equivalent of a Pentium 2 is your doorbell.
Yeah. So if anybody is interested in seeing Doom running on my Casio Pocket TV, I was completely honest about this. It's on Reddit. I posted it to Reddit. I did a video of it, and I think, if I remember right, I put in a good load of instructions. Oh, yeah, we go. I put a link to my Imgur gallery of pictures of how I did the build and the how to install Doom onto a Raspberry Pi 3. So yeah, someone else's work. But yeah, that you just go to Reddit, and the subreddit is called It Runs Doom. If you just search Casio in that, you'll find it, and there's a little video of it running Doom. And to be fair to them, I got a really nice response from the It Runs Doom community, because as I say, I posted it in there, and I put the title of my post was "Pretty sure this is cheating," and this is a Casio Pocket TV running Doom, and in brackets via Raspberry Pi 3. And one of the mods commented quite early on, says it's definitely cheating, but you provided instructions for the physical hardware and the Doom compile, so it's more than we get from most other people. 872 upvotes. So yeah, a nice little reaction from them. Yeah, I know, right? As much as it's not really a Casio Pocket TV running Doom, it still looks fucking cool.
I did see somebody running Doom in Doom.
I think I heard about that.
Which was quite good.
It does, yeah, there are people who've got it running on smartwatches as well.
I think it's playable in Minecraft.
Yeah, I think I've heard that too, yeah. Just nuts, isn't it?
It's just insane. But yeah, basically anything with a screen and any kind of processor.
Yeah, it'll get there. I like to see it running on something with an e-ink screen. That'd look an absolute atrocity.
I want to see it running on something really old, because that's one of the things John Romero said. It's like he's not really interested when people say, oh yeah, I've got it running on my smart fridge. It's like, yeah, because the computing power of that is 500 times the PC that we made it on. It's more interesting when someone says, oh, I got it running on the Master System. When somebody goes back to technology that would have been around at the time and gets it running on that's more interesting. And I do see that. It's like, how can you get it running on something it shouldn't run on?
Yes. So apparently, I just Googled it. And I've said I'm going to stop saying the word apparently. It's a fact. I don't need to say the word apparently. You could get it running on a PC/AT from 1984 using DOS 16M, whatever that means. I'm sure somebody understands that, but that's pretty impressive. That's nearly a decade prior to when it came out. But the thing is, I think it's more really for me that people want to.
Yeah.
It's, as much as for a little while there was, that fucking phone game Flappy Bird, which was shit, but it was like, but that was like a 6-month little, it was a meme really. I've got it running Flappy Bird. People have been trying to get Doom to run on things for 40 years. 30 years?
30.
30. And still do, because as I discovered earlier today, it is still an absolutely fucking brilliant game.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. But also as well, people are still building levels for it.
Yeah.
And for that original version, there are still levels coming out. The Steam version that I was playing earlier today has got some levels in it from this year.
It's the sensible world of soccer of first-person shooters, isn't it?
It's just nuts. It wasn't a first-person shooter. The phrase hadn't been coined when it was released.
Is that right?
So for about every other game that came out after Doom was a Doom clone.
Yes.
For about 3 or 4 or 5 years.
I remember that, yeah.
And then the term first-person shooter started to take over. So I don't even know what they called it, actually, in terms of a genre.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, without a shadow of a doubt, I reckon we did Street Fighter for our first episode. I don't think we've done any other game that could possibly rival Doom for just how big and important it is.
I think as far as influence goes, Doom is probably one of the most important games ever made.
Yeah.
Without too much hype. I think it's a genuinely...
No, I don't think there's any hyperbole in that at all.
I can back that statement up.
Yeah.
The only problem that I've got is that the distribution model and the business sense behind it didn't take off. Giving away your game for free, letting people mod it for the rest of its 30-year lifespan, not rinsing your customers for all the money they're worth.
No, absolutely. It's just, I think the faith is there, isn't there? I think they must have had so much confidence that they had a fantastic product.
They had a lot of confidence. They released a press statement before they'd even started making the game, saying what it was going to be, how big it was going to be, how important it was going to be. They literally listed all this stuff. You can find it online. This press release is brilliant. It's just, this is the game we're about to make, and it is going to be the best game ever made.
Wow.
And they did it. They nailed it.
Yeah.
That became their sort of guiding principle. And yeah, I'd say they carried it out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I played it through early today until I died, which was...
A couple of levels?
No, I did all right, actually. I only played on what hurt me plenty, the middle difficulty.
I only ever play on hurt me plenty. I'm not a masochist. I'm not a pussy, but I'm not a masochist.
Maybe 3 or 4 levels. I'm trying to think. It felt big. I'm trying to think how many times I looked at that end screen where it tells me how many secrets I've not found.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is all that screen's for, really. I fucking looked everywhere. I pressed every bastard wall. What did I miss?
I love not caring about that stuff. Because I just want to get through the level. I just want to see and get through the next level. So the idea of replaying it to get all the secrets and things, I don't give a shit. I did do one attempt and succeeded in beating the par time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I've never done before. I've never played it enough to think, I'll try and break the par time on all the levels, or I'll try and do it with only the pistol, or I'll only try, the stupid rules you invent for yourself.
Yeah.
Whenever you've got that and that alone to play. I never had Doom as the only game I've ever had.
Did you not?
We said before about when you bought your PlayStation, you had Tomb Raider, so you only played Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
For several weeks. Doom has never been the only game I've had.
I think it probably was when I had the SNES, because I finished it on the SNES. I'll tell you what, probably doesn't get enough credit in Doom. Maybe someone's done their dissertation at university on it, I don't know. But the fucking map is a work of art. The way it runs, and the way it indicates what's new, what you've been, where you haven't been, stuff like that.
Changes in elevation by different colour, doors by different colour. You can use it to spot secrets sometimes as well.
Yeah, I get you. I can believe that, actually.
If you're running along and there's you can see the level goes off a little bit.
Yeah, for my legendarily bad sense of direction, it is an absolute lifesaver. 2 things actually in that game that help with my legendarily bad sense of direction. One is the map, obviously, but the other one is the fact that it leaves all your bodies behind. So when you open a door and there's corpses everywhere, you go, I've been through here.
There's not a barrel or a first aid kit in sight. Do you instinctively shoot every barrel you come to, just so you don't accidentally kill yourself with it later?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's worth doing, isn't it? It's like get them early rather than get them late.
Yeah, take it out now so it's not a mistake when I try to shoot something later.
Yeah, turn around and just fire at something.
Yeah.
So I think the bit I got to, it's funny because I hadn't struggled, though. I hadn't got even close to death I got pinned in a corner by a fucking pinky once.
Yeah.
But up until the point where I died, I hadn't really struggled at all. And that kind of annoyed me a little bit. I forget what happened, but all of a sudden there was shit everywhere. And there was fucking invisible bastards. I completely forgotten about the invisible bastards. And annoyingly, I had, a rocket launcher and the chain gun at this point, but cycled the wrong way on the button. So I was punching the fucker.
Oh, brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, I was looking for the rocket launcher and I got my bare fist.
Which can be one of the best weapons in the game if you get the Berserker pickup.
Oh, yes, of course. I forgot about that. I didn't see that in this place. Well, we found the 200% health pickup. I'd forgotten what it was.
Yeah, the blue, it's like a blue circle, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the fucker. Yeah.
There's a few things that I'd forgotten. There's the blue circle, which gives you 200 health. There's the sort of red circle, which is invisibility.
Yeah.
Which is really good. Because it does genuinely work as well. You can see the things that shoot are having trouble shooting.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. There's a light amplification goggles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd never seen before, I don't think.
Well, it does go dark, doesn't it? There's bits.
Oh, it's very dark, but it's intentionally dark. That's the point. In a lot of the cases, the level design and the lighting are hand in hand to craft that experience.
Yeah, I was in a bit earlier, so it would have been only in the very early levels where you're fighting and the lights just go off, so it goes almost completely black. So that would have been handy to have some fucking goggles in. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, they're only on specific levels in specific places.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'd forgotten about the hazmat suit as well, so you can walk on the green stuff.
I normally find those after I've waded through the poison.
When I was high up and there was poison and shit down below me was the only time that I wanted to be able to look up and down.
Yeah,
I really like the fact that the whole game plays out on the single plane. So if if the enemy is up, then it will aim up for you. I just really like that, and I'm sure there are people who think it's hand-holded and easy, but I think it makes the whole game run so much quicker. One less thing to think about.
It's in there because it was a limitation of the engine at the time. Yeah. But I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm glad they've never gone back and changed it. That's what makes one of the things that makes Doom.
I completely agree. Yeah, I think
it's that and you can't jump. If there's ever a gap, you've got to fucking run. Get up high and run.
Yeah, I did that when I come to the first bit where it was like there's no path. It's just a green like lake basically. And I was like, yeah, it is. Just run like fuck. Just run like hell.
Yep, and you do move quick as well. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I was running around on it earlier. I couldn't believe how fluid and like just enjoyable to run around it is.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I imagine maybe that a lot of people back in 93, 92 didn't get to enjoy it that way. Can't imagine as much as it's nothing now. It's like games that come out like Crisis was a game for ages that nobody could play properly because it was brilliant. And I can imagine Doom may have been a limited experience for a lot of people.
I think there was amongst people who had PCs at the time, there was a lot of people who didn't have a PC that could run Doom.
Yeah.
So it took more memory than most people would need.
Yeah.
Back in those days, you just didn't have a PC to play games on. If there was a PC in your home, it's probably because it was needed for a job.
Yeah, absolutely.
You didn't buy a PC as an entertainment, as a thing to entertain your family with.
No, for sure.
It was usually there for work, which meant the spec wouldn't have been anywhere near what was necessary.
I accidentally loaded it up when I was playing it earlier with the PC speaker sound effects on.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, it's horrible. Genuinely disgusting sounding. And so not Doom. It's a very, very specific sound design.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, and it's what I remember from Doom is the sound design. I remember, and it probably sounds a bit stupid to say now, but being afraid playing it in certain places because you're sort of walking around looking and you don't know what's around the next corner, and you've got these sound effects and things just happening, and you're flinching and you're turning around and you're firing at nothing in the distance somewhere.
One of the things with the sound design of Doom that I've always loved is that things do announce themselves. So there'll be like a hiss and you think, oh shit, that's an imp or that's a cacodemon or whatever. And if you've got that stereo sound, You think, shit, it's to my left. So
Yeah.
you spin around, literally just, it's there. But one of the things with, like you say about you're afraid to go into new areas, the one that always gets me, and one of the reasons I really love Doom, is that you'll go into an area, you'll walk past like loads of pillars and things.
Yeah.
Go up onto a platform to pick up a key or something. Then all those pillars drop and there's a fucker on each one.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, hang on. This isn't a case of go around a corner and, oh, there's a demon over there. It's from behind you.
Yes.
And they all hiss and fucking growl at the same time.
Yeah, it all goes like and it kicks off. It really kicks off, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the speed of movement and the reaction you can do to anything, it's just move, sidestep, spin round, start running around, circling around, and blow it all away. I love it.
And as you said, I think, as much as the purest way to play it is probably mouse and keyboard. I don't play games with mouse and keyboard ever, so I think it works brilliantly on a controller.
I think a controller is a great way to play it. It's not for me because I've got the mouse and the keyboard. But when I first played Doom, I only ever played it on keyboard.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah. The very first time I played Doom was in. Do you remember the internet cafe that existed in Bedford for about a year or two? It was one of the first ones in the country, and it was quite big news at the time. But I used to go in there quite a bit, and I was in there one night. Well, I say one night, one early evening, just whatever I was doing on the internet. Look at nothing, because there was nothing on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Just enjoying the internet.
Yeah, just using the internet. Just the novelty of it. And the guy who was running it was like, oh, we're going to start an 8-player, a Doom match in a bit. Do you want to join us? Like, yeah, all right. Okay, I've never played it, so this will be fun. I'd played Wolfenstein a little bit.
Yeah. Because
somebody had a copy on the school computers that everybody had. So I kind of knew the basics, but I'd never played Doom, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I came second. Only because it took me a few minutes to figure out what I was doing and where I was going. If I'd have had a few less deaths in the early stages, I'd have won the whole thing. But just, I couldn't believe it. It's like, oh my God, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I don't think I played it again for years. I had that one go on it. And like I said, didn't know anybody who had a PC, didn't know anybody who had a PC and Doom.
Yeah.
The two just didn't go hand in hand. I think the next time I played it was probably when you had it on the SNES.
I definitely remember talking to somebody about Doom. I don't think either they had it or they were getting it, but I didn't play it. But I remember talking about the shareware thing and all that sort of stuff. Sort of back then, that shareware model was just such a weird idea to me.
It was genius.
It was just I just didn't get it. I remember him having to explain it to me 3 or 4 times. I can't remember who it was. But I'm like, so what? How do you get it again? How do you get it? But it was 9 levels, wasn't it?
Yes, the first episode. Is it Knee Deep in the Dead? Is that the first one?
But yeah, and then as you say, I didn't play it on anything. I think I definitely saw it on something because there were a couple of people who had capable PCs sort of around and about, and I'd seen it by then. And when it came out on the SNES, I was quite interested, which is weird to me because I don't like first-person shooters. I don't like them now, and I wasn't really that fussed at the time. But Doom is to me. I'm sure there are games like Doom out there that have that.
There's a couple.
That sort of lack of. I can't remember what it is. It's the Y-axis, isn't it? A lack of Y-axis, because as much as it is 3D and all that, and you can go backwards and forwards, and that.
X is sort of horizontal, and Z would be forward and back, I suppose.
I want to play more games like that because I enjoyed that immensely. I really did. But I think to me as well, you're talking about playing deathmatch. To me, Doom is exclusively a single-player game, and I'm sure that's something else that people are just like, what?
Yeah. Part of the success was the fact that people were playing it on networks, and LAN parties and things like that.
It's weird, isn't it? I wonder if it's sort of a split of PC games and console games, because it didn't come out of nothing, did it? I wonder how much Doom had to do with that.
Quite a bit. I mean, there were others. The concept of porting a game from one system to another had been around from day one.
Yeah.
Yes, this has been successful in the arcade, but can we put it on a home console?
Yeah.
Yeah, that had always been there, so I don't think it broke any ground in terms of that.
But I don't know. How long did it take? Because if it came out on PC 1993, when was the first, what could be described as a console port?
I think SNES was 95. I was looking earlier.
I guess that would have to be the first, wouldn't it? It's not going to...
Because SNES was... The SNES version, I think, was Ultimate Doom, which which is the first one plus an extra episode.
Oh, okay.
Because they never released a boxed copy for a couple of years. They agreed to deal with one of the big American retailers, if it was Walmart or Target or somebody like that. They basically said, look, you can put it on the shelves, make your own box for it. So they just went off and made boxes and got artwork and put a floppy disk in it with the shareware version. And they said, as long as you sell it for $9, that's fine. So John Romero's got like all of these weird boxed released versions that were never official, and they're all just the same shareware copy of the game inside it. It did finally get a boxed release in '95 as Ultimate Doom, which included a new chapter of 9 levels.
Weird that they didn't. I suppose it must have been a naming convention, but it's weird that on the SNES they didn't call it Ultimate Doom. It was just Doom.
Yeah, well, it's just pointless changing it, wasn't it?
I suppose.
Thing is, if you had Doom and then you saw Doom come out a couple of years later, you think, well, I'm not buying that because I've already got it. You see Ultimate Doom.
Yes.
Ooh, I'll have to get that. Yeah, but such was the way that the game was built. You could mod it from day one. One of the things they were very keen on was giving the tools, the level editing software away for free. And the way that they worked the file system, they created the WAD, which stands for Where's All the Data, which I thought was brilliant. They just came up with this system of packaging the engine as like one thing, and then all of the things that make up the level as a WAD file. So they're literally just interchangeable. Just rewrite the WAD file, it'll run. The engine will run it.
That's very cool, isn't
it? It is the birth of the modding scene.
Yeah.
The very concept of modding came out of that. So I think for that alone, Doom is probably one of the most influential games just for that.
What about pokes?
Pokes.
Remember poke?
That's a word. Yeah, that's a word from the past. Describe a poke for nobody who remembers a poke.
Well, pokes were a thing I always associated with the Spectrum, obviously, because that's what I had in the 8-bit era. That was basically a little bit of code or a little program that you would amend into a game on the Spectrum or the Amstrad, and it would change something. It would basically a cheat code, but it wasn't really. It wasn't a built-in cheat code. It wasn't something the developer had put in there. It was something that you were basically brute forcing into the game.
You're rewriting code.
Yeah.
You're actually rewriting sections of the game code.
Yeah.
And then loading the game over the top of it.
So essentially, gotta be mods, hasn't it? That's a mod.
I'll give you that. I will give you that. Because you are modifying the game code.
Yeah.
But in terms of how Doom mods work, it's a separate bolt-on thing.
Yeah, what you would consider a mod these days, it was a million miles from that.
Oh yeah,
but it was very obvious. I think there was definitely a clear difference between a cheat code, which is something a developer has built into the game, and a poke, which was modifying the code to work differently. So yeah, that's kind of my first memory of anything moddy. I've never in all of my life modified any game.
Really?
Gemma spends her life, my wife, playing The Sims with mods. She's got so many mods on her Sims it takes 4 hours to load the game.
Just leave it running 24 hours a day.
Yeah, she pretty much does. If she's working on something, she'll just leave it on. But yeah, so her entire sort of, and Sims is almost all she plays, so her entire gaming experience is built around mods.
Yeah.
And I've never played one on anything. Nothing at all. I don't even know why, to be honest with you. I'm a little bit purist. We talked about this like back in the early days of the podcast quite a lot. I am a bit puristy about games. I do want the experience as crafted by the people who tried to craft it, because I'm a bit pretentious like that. I don't even know if it's all about that, really. I guess I don't play a lot of PC games either, so that's also part of it.
There are a lot of game series that have been spawned from mods. Counter-Strike was a Half-Life mod.
Yeah.
Call of Duty was a Half-Life mod, I think, originally. There's quite a few out there. Big games that got their start. Portal, one of the most famous ones.
Yes. But I mean, to me, again, because I don't really like first-person shooters, and they are ubiquitous is an understatement. To me, I don't hold that against Doom. But if Doom hadn't existed, then, well, you're going to tell me that it was Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein 3D.
Wolfenstein 3D.
Because there were two two Wolfenstein games before that, which I never knew about. I'd always thought that Wolfenstein 3D was the first one.
Yeah.
Then Doom came along. But Wolfenstein 3D was based on an early to mid-80s 2D stealth game where you had to escape from a German castle called Wolfenstein. I've seen it being played now, and it's sort of kind of early 2D Metal Gear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have to like drag bodies and hide them and things like that.
Cool.
It looks really cool actually. I'll check it out. But Wolfenstein 3D, which was the game that they did have a lot of success with as well.
Yeah.
So Doom wasn't built off the back of nothing. It didn't just come out of nowhere.
I'm just quite entertained by the fact that Wolfenstein 3D is basically the same naming convention as Jaws 3D, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah. That's it.
You reminded me of an old Spectrum game I had called Escape from Colditz.
When I was watching this thing, it made me think of Into the Eagle's Nest. Do you remember that?
That's one of my favourite games ever. It might even be on our list somewhere, but anyone who's not played it, it always gets compared to Alien Breed.
Oh, I would say the other way around. Alien Breed gets compared back to.
Oh, was it that way round?
In the Eagle's Nest, yeah. Eagle's Nest was like late 80s.
Yeah,
Alien
I think
Breed was Amiga era, so early 90s.
And the other one is Gauntlet. It gets compared to that because it's top down, but again, plays quite a lot differently.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare the two.
Yeah, I love Into the Eagle's Nest.
Great game.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant game. So I might have to have a look at them myself then.
Yeah, they look fun. They look interesting. How playable they'll be is another question.
They are or they're not, really, aren't they?
Yeah. At the very least, you can find a video of somebody playing it.
Yeah, but there are games older than that are completely perfectly playable. So we were talking about Defender the other day, which plays brilliantly still. And there are games that do. So
a lot of the early arcade games will always be good.
Absolutely, like Pac-Man.
Yeah, I suppose.
Have you played it on anything since? I mean, other than the original, did you play Doom 2? Did you play Ultimate Doom and the games before the modern versions?
I've played today Doom, the original DOS version of Doom, running in an emulator on a browser. Oh, nice. So as close as you can get to the original.
Yeah.
So much so that the mouse controls moving your mouse up moves you forward.
Oh, one of those.
And down moves you back. Yeah, it's virtually unplayable with the mouse. So keyboard only. So back to how I first played it the very first time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad. It ran pretty well. Graphics are as you'd expect from a 30-year-old game. But it's Doom. It's perfect. You don't need to download anything. You just literally type in Play Doom online.
Oh, really? That's cool.
You find like 500 different versions of it. So played that for a bit. And I thought, I'm pretty sure I've got it on Steam. I'll give that a go.
Yeah.
Didn't realise the version I've got, I bought in 2012. I've never played. And they're really, really, really well-made, refreshed versions with modern controls, modern settings.
Yeah.
I mean, the graphics aren't improved. The game is still the game. It's just the presentation of it is much, much better. It's also packaged with a really cool sort of repository of information, like an encyclopedia of stuff.
Right.
Like there's loads and loads of sprite images. So all the animation frames of every monster.
Oh, that's cool.
Stuff about all the weapons, the locations. It's really, really good. I'd really recommend checking it out. And then I played a bit of Doom 3, which I did have about 20 years ago when that first came out. Still scares the shit out of me. There's something about that game. It's always really, really unnerved me. I don't know why. I think it's because your flashlight that you've got goes on and off. It can only be on for a small amount of time.
Oh, right.
And it's a very dark game. And when things appear, they fucking scream at you. But no, Doom 3 is brilliant. It's really, really good. It's got more plot than Doom 1 and 2 put together.
Is it a good thing?
It's actually not a bad story. It is the story of Doom, but it's actually like related to you as you're going through it rather than, oh, by the way, this was the story, which is Doom 1 and 2 are both like, just play through, kill all this shit. You were on Mars, then you went to hell. And that was the plot.
So it's one of those things with Doom, the story. I don't know where it comes from. You know what I mean? It's like all the names for all the demons and things. I don't know where where they come from. I don't know whether they are from the developer, whether the community has built them up over time. Or
no,
what.
they are from the developers.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things specifically with PC games, and especially with Doom because of the open source aspect of it, all of those files can be read. So if they've called something a cyber demon, the text is there. That's the cyber demon. That's so from day one, it's outlined. This is what this is called. This is this. Yeah, without actually mentioning it in the game.
Yeah,
it became very well known very quickly what everything was called. I think the manual, SNES manual, may have had a list of all the creatures.
I can't remember. I don't think I've got a box version.
I had Final Doom on the PlayStation, and I remember very keenly the first line of the manual is, "So you've decided to read the manual." Or you finally got round to reading the manual, or something like that. So they're fully aware that you don't need to read this shit.
Straight in.
That's brilliant. I also played a bit of Doom from 2016, which is just phenomenal. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but they introduced things like glory kills.
I've played it.
Oh, it's brilliant.
I didn't like it.
Did you not? It's very fast. I'd forgotten how much you need to run around in that game.
Well, yeah, the game engine is built around running around very quickly, isn't it? And doing things at close quarters. I didn't like the clear an area, walk to the next area, clear that area, walk. I didn't like that structure of it.
Yeah.
Enough so that it stopped me enjoying the rest of it. I can't remember exactly where I got to. I don't think it was very far, but that structure just annoyed me, and I don't know why in particular, because that is the structure of so many games that I like. Clear an area, walk to the next area. I don't know. I can't tell you why I didn't like it, but it didn't work for me as much as I enjoyed. I mean, I guess part of the problem is I don't like first person shooters very much anyway, so it's always got a bit of a hill to climb, and then it was doing well with the running around and the chaining kills together and all that sort of thing. I thought that was particularly cool. But yeah, it bugged me enough that I just stopped playing it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think
I have to play it.
No, I don't. That's very boring, Dave. Can you be a teenager and start shouting at me about how I'm wrong?
No. Because I love it. I think it's brilliant, but I won't sit and play it for long because I find it exhausting.
Really?
I find the effort I have to put into, like you say, those sort of scripted small area battles where it's like, okay, you've got these few demons, then once you're in the middle of killing them, another one's going to come for it. Because they're very scripted. Yeah. And the idea is that you fucking fly around the area and take it all out in an amazing way.
Yeah.
And I just find it a lot of effort.
But this is what I mean. This is why it's weird that I don't like it, because I love that in other games.
Yeah.
Absolutely
you
love
should enjoy it. It should be right up your street.
It's one of me. I paid for it, and I didn't. It's not a game I stole to do this. When it was new, I read reviews, and those reviews, to me, I thought that sounds brilliant. I'm going to have to play that. I'm going to have to give it a look, and it just didn't work for me. Something just grated against me. It's a shame because it's clearly a very good game. Don't get me wrong. It's one of those things. It's not like I could sit here and say that no, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not terrible. It's just something about it didn't quite vibe for me, unfortunately.
Did you ever find any of the secrets?
No, I don't think so.
I think it's very early on, possibly the first level, there's a door that you can open. In fact, it might not even be a door, it may just be a bit of wall. But it opens up and you go into an area that is the textures from the original game. And it's so jarring, it's horrible. But it's brilliant. I love that they put that in there. Oh, also on Doom 3 comes with Doom 1 and 2 as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've got like 5 versions of Doom. Just by owning like 2 games.
All the Dooms.
Yeah. Well, it's not all of them. No way.
No, it's not. I'm interested to know what consoles it came out on. Obviously newer ones because it got ported to everything once everything could run it, but sort of in reasonable time frame of it coming out. Because I know there's a Jaguar version.
The Jaguar version was quite famously good. And one of the big selling points of the Jaguar.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it had come out on any other console before that.
Well, other than the
big thing of it was, if you want to play Doom and you don't want to spend, $2,000 on a PC, the Jaguar is the thing to get it on. Oh, 32X.
Of course it did, yeah.
One of the very few games to make it onto that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess it's kind of that thing, isn't it? It's like with like the FX chip and.
So official ports of Doom: 32X Atari Jaguar in '94, SNES and PlayStation in '95, 3DO 96, Sega Saturn '97, Acorn RISC PC in '98, Game Boy Advance in 2001, Xbox 360 in 2006, iOS in 2009.
Yeah, this is where it gets to the point where it's not impressive anymore, isn't it?
Switch, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Android.
Absolutely everything. Interesting. Yeah. I genuinely didn't know there was a Game Boy Advance version.
Yeah.
No idea.
Well, that should run pretty well because it's basically a pocket SNES, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very close. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely related. And it had a couple of similar first-person shooters, like X versus Sever, based on a terrible film of the same name. Was very much in that vein, and that was a Game Boy Advance exclusive. Didn't exist on anything else.
Yeah,
I didn't realise there was a GBA version. I wonder if it's any good. So the Game Boy Advance version, 3 episodes, 24 levels, link cable mode for 2-player deathmatch. That's cool. Apparently, it was very good. So that's fun. I might have to.
Yeah, I would have thought it'd run pretty well.
Yeah, the screenshot looks great. The screenshot, to be fair, looks better than the SNES. It's a little bit crisper. That's interesting. Let's do a quick. How much does it go for these days? Well, Doom 2 isn't very expensive, so that's fun. I guess it's scarcity that makes games expensive, and I doubt they would have been shy about how many copies of Doom they were going to sell on anything. The cheapest buy it now I can find on eBay is only 40 quid for the Game Boy Advance game, which is less than it would have cost when it came out.
Yeah.
So that's good. So I'll be picking that up because, I didn't know it existed. Game Boy game didn't know it existed.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, in terms of ports, first port was an unofficial port to Linux, which was done in-house by one of the id guys. Not official, but apparently Microsoft tried to hire Id to port it to Windows 95.
Right.
In an attempt to promote Windows as a gaming platform.
Yeah.
They refused. They declined the offer. So Microsoft licensed it and made their own port of it. Interesting, led by Gabe Newell, who you may have heard of.
No, sounds like a prick. I'm just having a quick look at Doom running on the
potato.
Pretty much the Jaguar.
Oh, right, okay, you're right.
I'm sure a lot of potatoes have more power than the Atari Jaguar, I'm sure. I've got a bit of a soft spot for the Jaguar. This looks really good, actually. Some bits look better than others, like the graphics on the fire effects don't look particularly great, but it's very fast, and the lighting's very good. So this version I was playing earlier was Chocolate Doom, and apparently the ethos behind Chocolate Doom was to keep it as close to the original version as possible, like bugs and exploits and all that sort of thing left in from the original version. So
that's good. I like that.
Yeah, they didn't want to change anything. So looking at that, this Jaguar version looks like the textures aren't as good, and the lighting is good but a bit more basic.
See, the lighting is one of the biggest parts of the game.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what the level design works because of the lighting a lot of the time.
No in-game music as well on the Jaguar.
Really?
Version.
That's a big part of Doom.
Yeah, no, I forgot it even had music in-game, and it's brilliant music, isn't it? It's really good.
I was reading something earlier. It's like a heavy metal horror game or something. I can't remember what it was before. That's pretty much spot on.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
The version on Steam I've been playing has got a redone soundtrack.
Oh, really?
So it's it's crisp and nice. But
yeah,
very much in keeping with the original soundtrack, just sort of much higher bit rate.
Yes,
but very good.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is it's really important.
And you can switch between the two as well.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna check it. I haven't got Link's Doom. Well, not Link's Doom. Fucking hell, Link's Doom would be amazing. Jackie would do. I don't think I have because it's stupid money.
Yeah.
Yeah, 220 quid. I'm looking at one here.
Ooh, bloody hell.
Well, this one says there's 95. I think that might be a rebox because it looks way too shiny. Oh no, box 95 quid like new. So 100 quid. Probably should admit to the world and everyone that I've paid more for an Atari Jaguar game. So maybe that's not out of the question.
Oh, Jesus.
I remember Final Doom on the PlayStation. I think I may have had that, but I don't think
interesting version Final Doom because it wasn't made by id. It was made by a modding team, and it's based on the idea that you are already very good at Doom.
Oh, okay.
It's not the game to pick up as your introduction to the series.
Right.
Because on the first level, you go into one of the very first rooms, and there's enemies with chain guns.
Oh, Christ, I'm buying.
Like 3 of them. It's like you've been playing the game for literally 10 seconds and you're dead. If you don't know what you're doing.
Wow.
But I think it was an intentional thing. It was like intentionally made to be like, these are the the best levels that we can put together, and they are going to be a test for you.
I tell you what,
fantastic
weapons in Doom.
Oh, I love it. It's great.
As far as I'm concerned, there only one shotgun in all of gaming comes close to being as good as the first one in Doom.
Oh, okay. What's that?
I just think in Doom, that first shotgun you get, because it is the first other weapon you get, and it's so good, and the first time you just swing around and shoot and kill 2 guys at the same time with it, it just feels so good. And it's the reloading sound, the sound effects, it genuinely is. To this day, I don't care, even those old-fashioned effects compared to new effects, I still think it's probably is the best. But there is that one shotgun that you get in Resident Evil 2.
Thought you might say that one, the big super shotgun thing.
Yeah.
When you said shotgun, that's what I thought of.
I think again, because it's gotta do something, hasn't it? It's the way when you're playing it with not Rebecca, Jill, and you fire it and it takes a step backwards because it's so powerful.
Claire,
there we go. I knew it was one of them. Well, I guess it had to be one of them, didn't it? But yeah, it's just that she just can't handle it. She actually rocks backwards after firing it, and that's a great shotgun. But that first shotgun thing, but I think because you don't, it's not something you have to win. You not something you do have to find it and get to it. It's not in the first level, but it's so early on, and it's such good fun to use. It feels so good.
Yeah, you can get it a little bit earlier. There is, I don't know if it's level 1 or level 2. It's got a secret hidden little room where you can get one earlier.
Yeah. I got it in a secret room in level 2.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, because you can miss that and not pick it up until level 3.
Right. But yeah, just a great shotgun. Just the sound, it's just really good.
The model for it, the actual they went out and bought physical guns.
Oh really?
When John Romero tells the story of it, it's like we're game developers and we're in Texas. And we could have bought real guns, but we decided we'd go and buy toy ones so we didn't shoot each other. The actual physical model for that was bought from Toys R Us. So it's a Toys R Us like kids shotgun. The model for the chainsaw was a chainsaw that someone on the team owned.
Oh really?
They brought it into the office. There you go, there's a chainsaw. Oh, it's leaking oil everywhere. We'll put a bowl or a bucket under that. And apparently the guy still got it.
Oh, that's awesome.
30 years later, it's like framed and mounted in his house.
Yeah, I bet. That's incredible.
They've cited as their very, very keenest influence was Evil Dead.
Oh, really?
So from moment 1, they knew they had to have a chainsaw and a shotgun. And I never linked it. I never thought of that.
No,
because I've always just thought, it's Doom. It's got a chainsaw. It's got a shotgun.
Yeah.
It's got other weapons as well. But I never really put the two together and thought, Evil Dead as an influence.
That's very cool.
That's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, no, that is very, very cool. It's funny how you don't get sci-fi and horror don't go together as often as you think, do they? And certainly not well.
Yeah, not well. There's a few. There's a lot of attempts, but
but you don't. But obviously, Doom is very much an exception to that. I think the way it looks, the way that it's that blue. I don't know which one of the designers picked that blue out.
It's a very bold blue.
Yeah, and it's so much because everything else is very grey and brown and silver and metallic and all that. And then there's this blue that just hits you. It's just fantastic. Really is great.
Yeah.
Cracking design.
There was an interesting moment that came out of the interview with John Romero that I watched, is that during development, 20th Century Fox offered them the Aliens license.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
they sat around as a team, talked about it, and then shook their heads and said no.
Christ.
I think they already knew what they were making and what they wanted to put out, and Aliens didn't really fit with what they wanted.
Oh, yes, so even then there would have been compromise as well, wouldn't there?
Well, not only that, but then you're stuck, you're tied to the license.
Yeah.
You don't own it. It's not your product.
basically you're tied to, unless you get creative license to create more, which is probably a bad thing anyway. But you basically you've got 3 enemy types, haven't you? Then you've got an alien, a facehugger, and the queen, and that's it.
Yeah, it'd be quite samey.
Yeah, interesting. Again, going back to the Jaguar, Alien versus Predator on the Jaguar, which is a different game to any other Aliens versus Predator you've seen or heard of.
Mm-hmm.
It's its own version. It's utterly brilliant.
Yeah.
And is a first-person game, well, for certain bits of it. But yeah, it's a genuinely fantastic game, and may or may not be the game that I paid more than 100 quid for my Jaguar.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But yeah, really, really great design, and it could have worked because that is like you can play as one side or the other, of the 3, there's Aliens, Predators, and there's Marines.
Yeah.
So the Aliens and the Marines part of that could well have existed. It could have been a way to develop an Aliens game in the Doom engine, because it's very, very similar.
Yeah. There is a good Aliens vs Predator game that came out, I think, 99, 2000. That's really, really good. You pick your race and play through it, and that's very good.
And then, of course, there's a magnificent arcade version from...
Yes, which no one's ever played but us.
I wanted to play Doom more than I had because of this, because it's something I've not played a lot of. I played the SNES version and finished it, but I don't particularly remember it other than obviously enjoying it enough to finish it. And I wanted to play it more, and obviously some of the others that fit our retro. But I didn't, because I've got a new job, so I'm knackered. I'm having to leave the fucking house. So it's been, I've been watching a lot of TV because it's much easier than falling asleep on the sofa because I'm knackered. But I did want to play it more. And so when I finally did get around to playing it this evening after work, I was even more gutted because I loved it.
Yeah, it is great. I've never sat and played the original to any long degree.
Yeah.
So playing it earlier sort of felt kind of like the first proper time I'd ever got to play it.
Yeah.
All the way through. Finished the first episode.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I'd ever even seen through to the end. I've only ever sort of played a few levels.
Yeah.
And that's sort of been it.
I think I played... Where did I die? I can't even describe to you where I died, apart from I was surrounded by a lot of motherfuckers and got dead. That's about what happened. But I think it was 4 or 5 levels in. Sort of about on the sort of... Because you on the episode screen, you move up the screen, and I was sort of definitely over halfway in terms of where the graphics were of the level I was on. Yeah. That's all I can tell you.
It moves around. It sometimes goes left and right as well.
But yeah, anyway, I played a few levels, and I just loved it, and it surprised me because it's not the first time I played it. The levels, all those early levels were familiar. Do you know what I mean? From a cloudy distant past, from a very blocky SNES version,
viewed through rose tinted cataracts.
Yeah. But it's just a fantastic game, and the pace of it, I think, is one of the things that makes it great as well. And you don't move very much like a human being, do you? It's very slidey.
Yeah.
But I don't think, it certainly doesn't matter to me. I think anyone would be hard pressed to be annoyed by that because it just moves so brilliantly.
It's fluid, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just poetry in motion.
Yeah, it really is. And I think coming back to that whole thing with it not having a Y axis, I think that really helps with that because it is, it helps. It certainly helps you to feel like a bit more of a hero when you're doing stuff because it's one less. It's another access to not be shit at aiming in for one.
I was going to say it's a level of complication that's been taken away.
Absolutely, but yeah, I know it's obviously a very important game and it's obviously a very influential game, but you can be all these things and still not be much fun to play.
Oh yeah, Space Invaders, prime example.
Yeah,
boring as shit.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't want to play it.
It's obviously got its place.
But I mean, a more modern comparison, too modern for us really, is Grand Theft Auto 3, which for so many people invented that genre. I mean, obviously it didn't, but it certainly popularized it, and it's awful to play now. But I guess, and again, I think that sort of early, truly 3D era, there was a lot of awkwardness and a lot of things that were going on that are now quite difficult to put up with, but not Doom.
No.
I mean, not Doom at all. It's
I think it's because the mechanics still work. Whereas the mechanics of playing something like an early Grand Theft Auto game are quite unpleasant to play. Have you played the original at all recently, like in the last, say, 10 years?
The actual original?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I have.
It's horrible. I put it on just out of curiosity, just to play it for a little bit. And you've got left and right on the D-pad, turn you left and right. And then triangle is move forward.
Right.
It's very, very strange. The controls are very odd. It took me a lot of twisting it around in my head to get used to it. I can't play this. It's virtually unplayable. And it is hideous to look at. Whereas Doom isn't.
No.
Doom's older and still looks good, I think.
I mean, this is the power of the difference between graphics and design, isn't it? Because Doom's design is so beautiful and so well rendered. And the fact that, even with those pretty old school textures, it is textures that tells you where the secret doors are. And it's just little things like things. It's just, I think it's a beautiful game, despite being quite so grey and muddy, because I think these little hints, the rivers of green that come up and the pops of blue that are there, and it just, as I say, the difference between design and graphics, and those graphics are, by any modern standards, rudimentary. I don't care. I'd say it's a better looking game than most of the things I see out in the world at the minute. I think, I don't buy a lot of games anymore because I'm not interested. I think we are in a particularly bad place in modern games. I don't think the new big games coming out are particularly uninteresting and all look a very certain way. I say all, obviously not all. Obviously there are outliers, but
the latest Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
The latest FIFA, the latest Last of Us or whatever. Exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's where we are. And games, that level of identity that Doom has. And obviously it's not the only game to do it. Millions of games do it. But I find it very difficult to say anything bad against Doom, is what I'm saying. I could blame it for all of the first-person shooters that have been inflicted on the world since, but I won't. Because it doesn't deserve that.
No. It has to take an element of credit for that, but
yeah.
It's not Doom's fault.
It isn't Doom's fault.
Of what the genre became. I was reading up on one of the interesting things I found was the controversy surrounding it about when it came out. Obviously, it's incredibly violent, it's incredibly gory.
Yeah.
It was effectively available for free.
Yeah.
So freely distributed. I seem to remember it being all over the press as like it's so violent they want to ban it. The American it's gone to court and all that. Apparently, it was in development when they were having the Senate hearings on violence in video games. So it hadn't actually come out.
Oh, really?
At that point. I don't know if it was John Romero or John Cormack was saying they were watching the TV footage of these congressional hearings on violence in video games. They were like, where did they get a load of us? Have I got a game for you?
Didn't it get called a murder simulator in the UK?
Daily Mail, I think, called it a murder simulator.
Yeah, obviously.
It's incorrectly cited as one of the favourite games of the Columbine killers. Apparently, they did love it, but everybody loved it. If you had a computer, you had Doom.
Yeah.
And there was a rumour that one of the guys designed a level around the school so they could plan the shooting.
Oh, right.
If he did, it's never been found.
Yeah, no, it sounds like bullshit. It
sounds like a great story to sell a newspaper.
Yeah, fuck it.
Which is exactly what it was.
Well, it is crazy now, and I don't mean just for the the level of violence in games now, but just the way it looks and what it is, and that people were that bothered by it. It's such a different world.
Specifically to Americans, it's got a lot of demonology, a lot of satanic imagery because of where it's set. But you're fighting this stuff. It's presented as the bad guy.
Yeah.
I've always struggled with the idea of a religious group looking at a game and saying, oh, I don't like that. It's got demons in it. Yeah, but you're killing them.
Yes.
Surely you should be supportive of that.
Doing God's work.
Yeah, exactly. If the main character was a nun going around killing demons and exercising, all this shit, would they still be bothered by it? I don't know.
There's a game I want to play.
People who want to get offended, get offended. They find
absolutely.
something to get offended by. And I think Doom ticked a lot of boxes.
So when I was looking at getting hold of the files for Chocolate Doom, mentions that it will also run Hexen and Heretic.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know anything about those?
They are the sort of first of the Doom clones.
Oh, okay.
or certainly the biggest of the Doom clones. There was Hexen. There's another one called Rise of the Triad, which was one of the guys from id who left sort of mid-development, went on to make that.
Right.
They're the big ones that I know of. I've played Hexen years and years ago. It's pretty good. Never played Rise of the Triad. One of them, I can't remember which one it was, was the first game where you could look up. And it was a big thing that you could look up.
Unlike dogs.
Yeah. Big Al says so.
Oh, fucking hell.
Before we get off the subject of development, there is a great little story I've got to say. They'd already made Wolfenstein 3D and it had been quite successful, but only ever released on DOS, on the PC. So just before they started making Doom, they had an offer from Nintendo to port it to the SNES, Wolfenstein.
Right.
And they agreed and promptly hired somebody to do the conversion. Here's Wolfenstein. Here's a SNES, here's the development kit and the hardware and all that. Off you go, make Wolfenstein 3D. We're making this new thing. And about 6 months into the development of Doom, they started to get some very angry phone calls from Nintendo saying, "Where's our game? Where's Wolfenstein 3D?" It hadn't been made. They hadn't paid any attention, and this guy hadn't done it. So they scrabbled round, stopped production, just literally down tools on Doom, and made Wolfenstein 3D, learned how to make a game on the SNES, ported over Wolfenstein from its original source code to the SNES hardware, and got it shipped in 3 weeks.
Jesus Christ.
6 people. And then just carried on making Doom.
And then went back to Doom. It's like, deep breath.
I thought that was brilliant. That's genius. It's just like, oh shit, we've got to make a game. Pause for thought. Let's make that and come back.
I didn't realise Wolfenstein was on the SNES.
Neither did I.
I wonder if it came out. Did it actually get released?
I would imagine so.
It did, yeah. Oh, it says it's not pretty.
It wasn't pretty on the PC.
No, although, yeah, it does. It still looks very much like a PC game. That's true, actually. Yeah. It's still got that sort of, wow.
Yeah, the bare bones of Doom and the sort of first person system is there, but Wolfenstein is a rough game.
Yeah. It's always nice to see the sort of the genesis of things, though, isn't it? And even if they don't play great, it's nice to see them. But play Doom instead by the looks of it. I'm just going by what I'm watching now. But yeah, it looks like I'd rather be playing Doom. Did it famously have Robo Hitler as the end boss?
It had Robo Hitler, yes. It was brilliant.
For that alone.
It started off quite po-faced and quite, serious. You start off in a cell, you pick up a knife, I think, and stab the first Nazi. And then you get a pistol and it's like dogs to shoot and more Nazis. And yeah, I'm missing out a lot of steps, but you get to Robo Hitler at the end of it. It's like Hitler in a mech walker thing with like mini guns.
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely nuts.
We started talking about guns and you just remembered I said minigun again. I was surprised at how early I got the rocket launcher. Another thing that surprised me about the game, because
I wonder if you got that as a secret, because I didn't get it until like level 7. So I think I missed it because I was picking up rockets and I thought, have I missed this? So I probably missed it.
Yeah, I had it really quite early. I would say level 3.
Oh, yeah, you definitely got it early than I did.
I mean, I stand to be corrected if anyone knows that that's impossible, but I didn't get very far, so it can't have been that early on. But yeah, and then I was sort of a bit conscious of looking for secrets.
Yeah, I wasn't. I was very specifically not interested.
Yeah, I'm not normally, to be fair. Not sort of something that, drives me in games, looking for stuff like that. But there are, Doom is quite good at, when we did Tomb Raider, we said it's where you pull a switch and it opens a door and it shows you the door.
Yeah.
There are buttons in Doom where it doesn't. You press a button, there's a and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And I was in the mood to go and find it, and so I think that's probably why I find so many secrets. But yeah, it's part of, I think, but you talked about going for the part-times as well. That must have been a fairly early implementation of that as a sort of a speed running thing.
Yeah, Doom was the birth of speedrunning because it became an online community.
Yeah.
They had an aspect of it where you could record your gameplay as like a file of all the key presses.
Oh, okay.
So you basically record a demo.
Like a macro.
So yeah, basically, so as you play the game, it records your keystrokes and then just holds that as a very small file that you can send to somebody. They install it on their PC. They get to watch your run. So it's without, recording video or anything. It's a very, very cool way of doing it. And that's how speedrunning started and grew from that.
That's amazing. I used to work with a guy called Naz who used to, in the bottom left-hand corner of his work computer, like all the time, he had little video files of people speed running Quake.
Yeah.
Just to get tips on how to do stuff. he just had it constantly running in the bottom corner when he taking phone calls and doing like assistance calls and helping people out with machinery and that, and all the time he's got Quake running in the corner of his screen.
Excellent.
Just absorbing it. He was the guy who was too fucking good at Super Mario Kart for me as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, again, there was... Because there's... Just go through the guns. There's the pistol, there's the shotgun, there's the chain gun, there's the rocket launcher, and there's the chainsaw.
Plasma rifle.
Fires
blue, like electric balls. And there's one more.
Oh, of course there is, yeah. So, yes, the plasma rifle's quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a square, brownish nozzle.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah. Good weapon. Really good.
There is, of course, the BFG.
Yes, the big friendly giant.
Yeah, he's a very friendly giant.
Marketing genius, the BFG 9000.
Yeah.
Especially when you pick it up for the first time and the character just sort of goes, yee, and
smiles.
Does it with the chainsaw as well. When you first pick up the chainsaw, the little icon that is your health at the bottom smiles.
Yeah.
Which I always thought was brilliant.
Yeah, and again, that's a great little touch, isn't it? That little icon and how fucked up it gets.
Well, originally they had a UI that was like a HUD of a helmet.
Oh, okay.
So there was like surrounds around the screen with all your sort of stats and things on it. And after a while, they're just like, no, I don't like it. Get rid of it. I want to see the level. I want to see what we've made. This is much, much nicer.
Great idea. I think that's been done since. I know that thing with the helmet is in the 3D Metroid Prime, the 3D Metroid games. There are some great moments in that where you see her eyes reflected on the glass of the helmet when you're playing it. It's very sort of very conscious of the because I think because the armor, the suit is very much a huge part of the game.
Yeah,
it's very conscious of it in the design. Metroid Prime in particular is a magnificent game. Unfortunately, too recent for us to do an episode on because I'd love to get you to play it.
Yeah, but
it's it is genuinely a fantastic. And one of those sort of immensely popular games. It gets talked about as one of the best games of all time. That 100% deserves it without question. It's brilliant. That's got that kind of very sort of making you aware of your armor and what you're in, which is quite cool. But I think that sort of almost sort of heads up display thing has definitely been done since.
Oh, it's been done a lot. It's been done actually again in Doom in the 2016 game. Right at the start, your character wakes up from a stone coffin. You've been in hell for years or some bollocks. I can't remember what it is.
I played it. I don't remember this. So
but he picks up his helmet, holds it, looks at it, turns it around, puts it on, and then all the elements of the HUD come up.
Cool.
So it's obviously a part of that. So whether that's a reference back to that or just a way of justifying having this shit on screen.
I think it's a nice little touch. I like stuff like that.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, one final thing to say on the modern games. If you haven't already seen it, find and watch the trailer for the next game that's coming out. It's called Doom: The Dark Ages, and it's set in more of a fantasy setting. It looks bonkers. It looks really fucking fun.
So is their influence for that one Evil Dead 3?
Yeah, and other things. I think that there's a bit where you pilot a mech. There's a bit where you're flying on a dragon. It looks batshit crazy. One of the weapons in it is it basically kill an enemy. You put their skull in this like crusher, and it fires out shrapnel like a claymore. And the animation of it crushing up the skull to load it and then shoot the shit out. It just looks absolutely nuts. Just balls out fun from day one.
No, I'm glad they're doubling down on that shit because that's what games should be like, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Which brings us nicely onto drinks.
Yes.
What you got, Dave?
I've gone a bit, how can I say it, a bit cryptic.
Ooh.
Well, not cryptic, but a bit sort of more left field than I normally would. Rather than something on the nose, rather than a pun.
Oh, okay.
I've gone for sort of I don't know how to describe it. It's more of a sort of reference to something else that feeds back. So the drink I've gone for is the Moloko Plus, which is an attempt to make the cocktail that they drink in A Clockwork Orange.
In A Clockwork Orange.
Because it is described in the film as a drink that will sharpen you up and make you ready for a bit of the old ultra-violence. And as Doom is the epitome of ultra-violence, I thought that was a nice link.
That is obtuse.
And it's not a bad sounding drink, actually.
Well, I imagine with you being such a fan of the White Russian, I think anything called a Moloko is going to be along those lines, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do White Russian for any of these episodes just because I knew for a fact I'd buy like 30 bottles of Kahlua and just sit and drink it all. This isn't the actual version of Moloko Plus, which, if you haven't seen the film, is apparently laced with all sorts of drugs.
Yeah, psychotropics and things, yeah.
Yeah. So the original idea of the Moloko drink from Clockwork Orange is just laced with all sorts of drugs. This is a real cocktail that somebody's made. It's not a Difford's one. I do have to apologise. But to give the guys credit, it's invented by a guy called Morgan Schick from San Francisco in the good old US of A. So it's 2 ounces of rum, half an ounce of Del Maguey Crema de Mezcal,
Ooh.
half an ounce of Benedictine,
yeah.
Yeah, 3 ounces of cardamom-infused milk.
Oh, wow.
This has got its own little side note, which is basically you add a pint of whole-fat milk, pint of half and half, crack a quarter of a cup of cardamom pods, and then heat it for about half an hour, strain out the pods. So that in itself sounds quite pleasant.
Yeah, I think you could probably scale that down a bit as well, because that's a lot, isn't it? You know, and it's not going to keep, so it's... you
need to use it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, after that, a bar spoon of simple syrup, 2 dashes of orange bitters, and 2 ounces of sparkling wine.
Oh.
Which is an interesting choice. Probably try it without that, to be fair. But no, it sounds pretty good. Add all ingredients to a cocktail shaker, add ice and shake until chilled. Strain to a highball glass. Yeah, and then add your 2 ounces of chilled sparkling wine. Yeah, I'll give that a go. I think that sounds kind of up my street, apart from the sparkling wine bit at the end.
It's not very much, though. It would just be to add some fizz. You could use soda water, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And not lose a lot.
Maybe Sprite.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I think I'll give that one a go.
I'm intrigued by that, yeah. No, that sounds really, very unusual. Good find, Dave.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that one.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot.
What have you got for us?
I'm sorry, I'm just sort of a little bit fixated factors. When you said Moloko, weirdly, the first thing, I love the Clockwork Orange. The Clockwork Orange? A Clockwork Orange. I love it so much that I call it the Clockwork Orange. But whenever the word Moloko to me goes straight to the band.
Yes, yeah.
Always, every time. If you don't know Moloko, go and Google Pure Pleasure Seeker and listen to it on repeat for the rest of your life.
Great song.
What
I love that song.
I mean, they're a brilliant band and all their albums are great anyway, but that song in particular will just make you very, very happy.
That is my favourite song of theirs.
Yeah, no, I think it is their most popular, but yeah, very much among their best as well.
I'd say Sing It Back is probably more popular.
Oh, I wonder
because that got used for like loads of stuff on TV, didn't it?
Yeah,
adverts and
right.
things.
But yeah, great band. Sounds like a great drink. Great film. All recommended. All endorsed by Cocktail Mode. I went a bit more obvious. We've done it backwards because it's normally me that goes a little bit obtuse and you do a pun. So I have gone for a drink called the Baron.
Oh, okay.
After one of the big boss evil motherfuckers with horns coming out of his head called the Baron of Hell.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the reason I went for it is completely unrelated. One of my favourite cocktail books is the Savoy Cocktail Book by Harry Craddock from 1930. So it's a proper classic cocktail. Harry Craddock invented back in the 30s, probably in the 20s since the book came out in the 30s, the Corpse Reviver No. 2, my favourite, most loved cocktail of all time. time. And I've got sort of a reprint of this book, would be putting it kindly. It genuinely looks like someone's been through the original book and taken a photograph of each page and then put it back together in a cheap paperback. It's really scrappy, but it means that I've got a copy of these books, and the Baron comes from that. And it's again, I've gone for it because it sounds really nice. It's in right up my street. It's very much a martini focused. In the original recipe, he went for our friend Curacao, as far as I know. You reckon Caraco? Let's call it Caraco, which I learnt from this, and we talked about it before about not really knowing what it was. It was blue Caraco is a colour more than it is a drink, but it's orange flavoured, and so you can pretty much replace it with Cointreau or triple sec, depending on how much alcohol. Cointreau is higher alcohol than triple sec, but yeah. So basically, you can 1-for-1 replace it, which is awesome because I've got tons of Cointreau and no Caraco at all. But it's Caraco, 2 different types of vermouth and gin. So yeah, it's basically a martini with Caraco in it. And his original recipe was 6 dashes of Caraco, 2 dashes of Italian vermouth. I think Italian is dry. 1/3 of a cup was his old measure, and I think in modern parlance, 1/3 of a cup is basically about 50 ml, about a shot, and 2/3 of dry gin. So it's basically a gin martini with some orange liqueur in it. Bit boring in that formation. It's just a bit of a flat cocktail. Just tastes a lot like a martini with some weak orange flavour in it as well. Luckily for me, you and all our listeners, a few people have made other versions of it. I found a blog back from when people did blogs on WordPress, 2018, a blog called Zoodled Cocktail. Thank you, sir or madam. Your version of the Baron, much nicer than Mr. Harry Craddock's original, and it's not often I say that. So he did it like a shot and a half of gin and a shot and a half of Cointreau, and then topped up with half dry and half sweet vermouth. They call it a perfect ratio of vermouth when they match. Much nicer, lovely drink, far too nice. Luckily I ran out of gin, otherwise I'd be very much more drunk now. And it's a stirrer. You stir it into a chill cocktail glass, which is, a martini glass or a coupe, whichever you prefer. Garnish with a lemon wedge. But yeah, it's just, I think probably because it's basically based on a perfect martini, which is my preferred ratio for martinis. And I do love a bit of Cointreau. So yeah, it's the Baron. It's named after that pain in the arse bloke. He takes a lot of killing.
Yes.
he really does. But yeah, it's a nice one. That it's not one of these. We've done a few cocktails, haven't we? That I like. To be fair, your one today sounds really interesting and different.
Worth a look, I think.
Yeah. This is a much more simple like this. And there's a cocktail that I love called a Bronx, which is basically a martini with a bit of fresh orange juice in it. And I doubt, there's not a lot between these. It's a bit weak, the orange juice in that, again. But yeah, there are probably lots of cocktails like this, but this one's called the Baron. So it's the one we're picking. Or I'm picking, I should say. I nearly went, there is a cocktail in the Savoy, which really surprised me, from 1930. Well, I'm pretty sure it's just called Hell.
Oh, okay.
I nearly went for
That's
that.
Interesting.
I'm just going to check.
What's in Hell?
What's in Hell?
Jimmy Savile.
Absolutely. Cognac and creme de menthe and a pinch of red pepper.
Ooh.
That's it.
Okay.
Brandy, mint, and some red pepper.
Well, like ground up pepper or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what red pepper was in the 1930s. I assume it's not chili.
I don't know.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, I didn't go for that.
No.
Because I haven't got any cognac, because I couldn't try it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was very particular. I searched for cocktail names that were the enemies types. That's what I was very much, that was my route for this.
So you didn't find a Cacodemon cocktail then?
I didn't. I found a few that were called Pinky. I think there's something called like a Pinky Sunshine or something like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Again, ingredients I didn't have, unfortunately.
It's your choice for the next episodes. And looking at what you've proficiently already put down.
Yes.
Quite looking forward to playing this.
Yeah.
Been a long time.
Dave and I have started thinking ahead to what we're going to play. Provisionally, Star Fox was in.
Oh, okay, yep.
But I changed my mind on that because I mean, we must have 50 games listed coming up, something like that, to poke our memories. And I just saw Cannon Fodder and went, yeah, I want to play Cannon Fodder. I want to play it again. I want to love it again. I want to evangelize about the Game Boy Color version on this podcast. A special game, and I think would make for a very interesting episode because it's got quite a weird, I guess not history, I guess what happened after Cannon Fodder and the sequels and weird Eastern European versions of it that came out after.
I'm not aware of any of this. This
no,
is fun.
It's really interesting. But I mean, fundamentally, a magnificent video game for us to talk about.
Yeah, it is a good one.
But yes, so yeah, Cannon Fodder will be next time out. So that should be great fun. Like war. I mean, we're on a bit of a run at the minute of doing what I would, in inverted commas, call perfect games. I mean, we've done Tomb Raider, we've done Doom. We're now going to go on to Cannon Fodder. It's certainly one of my favourite games of all time. Dave, you looking forward to Cannon Fodder?
I am. I haven't played it for decades, and I love it. I remember the first time I ever played it on the Amiga, wetting myself at the intro music that you never got to hear.
That I never got to hear because I had it on the Jippy SNES version.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's next time on Cocktail Mode, the podcast where gaming, like alcohol, is in our blood.